rarely do we spend money and know that it's going to come back.
The hard thing about YouTube is you're trying to get your dart and hit the bullseye, but you don't know where the board is.
I made a big mistake on a job. I remember it costed us like thousands of dollars.
You think of his family and his boys and his wife, like going to bed knowing he's in jail.
Welcome back to the Peck Brothers Show. This week we are talking about how far you should go for an idea, whether that's building something that shouldn't exist or a dream that you got that you're pushing that people think you should give up. And in our case, a lot of what we push that maybe shouldn't get pushed, and maybe you should just stop, is video ideas. And that's a lot of what we have to talk about this week.
Well, in our case, when we go back, things have changed a lot since when we very first started. Because back in the day, it seemed like, hey, I think this YouTube thing could work for us. I think this will be fun. Let's do this. We're already doing this anyways.
Right.
So, then we'd film what we were doing, and it was just work around the yard, or it was, hey, I'm going to do this on my Jeep. And hey,
those sorts of videos are cheap.
Yeah, cheap, way cheap. There was no
They're
structure.
Awesome because you don't have to think about what we're going to do. It just came to us.
Yeah, and that was, for me, that was the best part of YouTube. It was like, if one day we could get paid to film what we're already doing and able to make money doing, that's like the perfect scenario. But it wasn't that easy for us.
No, I feel like that's a awesome thing to hit on, that we should hit on this podcast, is kind of the two sort of types of YouTube, right?
Yeah.
You do have people that literally just pick up a camera and they literally just film what they're doing. And then you have the other side of YouTube that's like actually structured stories. And that's much harder than I had any idea that it would be.
There's a lot to it. But at the same time, too, you got to give props to the vloggers, because that's essentially what they are, categorized as.
Which one are they categorized as? Filming
vloggers,
what they're
filming what they're doing.
Well, I mean, you got a guy like Casey Neistat, though, that he is a nut storytelling vlogger.
Totally. And that's what's cool about a lot of those guys, is it's not necessarily just picking up the camera, hey, I'm here at the store getting some groceries. Nobody really cares much about that. But it's the guys that are like doing things in their life that you're like, wow, how's he going to take that? What's he thinking right now? Because he's leaving, he's getting people on the edge of their seat, and they're wondering, this is an interesting person with an interesting life. I want to know more about this person. And we just, I guess, weren't that kind of people.
No, we didn't have a history of storytelling. Really, none of us were like great writers. You can write an essay, but there's some really insane writers out there. And we were never one of those sorts of people.
I feel like this is just the way that I think right now. You could probably change my opinion, but I think some of the best YouTube channels, like if you were to look at a Venn diagram, they lie right in the middle of
a structured story.
Stuff that you're doing on one side, and then you've got a structured story on the other side. I feel like really good YouTube and what YouTube likes would be both of those combined. Because we've been told over and over again, a structured story like a TV show or a movie, it doesn't do well on YouTube. And we have learned that we aren't interesting enough to just film what we're doing, cleaning out our toolbox. Nobody's going to watch that. It needs to lie somewhere in the middle.
Well, the best way that I've explained it to people, because a lot of people will ask us, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. And the best way that I've explained this to Dad too, and a lot of people that say, hey, I got a video idea. You guys should do this. It's like, when you think about some guy coming up to you and telling you about his morning. If he gets up and he's like, I woke up and then I got out of bed and then I brushed my teeth. And then I went to the bathroom and hopped in the shower. And then I got out of the shower, and then I dried off. It's like that story. Okay, I don't care. You don't care about that story.
I've done that 10 million times too.
There's nothing interesting about it. But if the story gets told by the guy And it's like, yeah. So I woke up this morning, and right when I got out of bed, this unexpected thing happened. Now all of a sudden it's intriguing. And that's how storytelling is best done. And when I think I like with what you're saying, if just in general what happens ends up interesting, that's when you really have something special.
Yeah.
And that has happened
Like
plenty of times.
this week.
Like this week.
And like a lot of the times we have video ideas that we plan out. We're like, we want to do this. We want to do this.
We've wanted to do this.
There you go. I can't think. We've wanted to do this for a while. But then there's videos that fall into our lap, like this week. And it's not like, here's a golden chair. This video was not fun to make, but the idea fell in our lap. And it was one of those, we were just driving along, and then
Right, exactly.
And that's where this video's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a huge curveball. It was supposed to come out last week, last Saturday or Sunday, and it just a lot of time there's just nothing you can do about like
It
parts
was out of our control last week. There was no way.
We didn't have parts show up. This is kind of a behind the scenes. We were still waiting on parts. We finally got the parts today.
We were supposed to get the parts earlier. We didn't know that something was going to come up. Something else was broken.
I get in serious film mode, like, when it's time to go, I just get hyper-focused. Okay, we need to hit this, for this to all make sense and come together. And I am so glad Caleb was in film mode after staying up for, it was well over 24 hours. At 4 a.m, and he captured that whole moment, and he captured it well. Like, I was not thinking about filming. I was thinking about what? Our world just fell apart. Our whole master plan of this 3 weeks that we have to, we've had this plan for a long time. This is all going to come to pieces. I'm going into problem solving mode. The last thing I'm thinking about is filming it, and Caleb luckily captured all of it, which made this video so good.
We just got done watching the intro that Caleb put together, and you guys are gonna die. It's so captivating. Like, I can't even wait to see what you guys think.
But that was a good example of just like something that happens, like just your life, and something happens that's super interesting, that's super out of the ordinary that you do. Honestly, I just turned on the camera and just filmed what was happening,
Well, and I think if we look at the two different sides of, like, you're just going to film what's going on in your life, I don't know very many people that have enough interesting things going on in their life every single week.
There's very few people.
Yeah,
that
if
are like
any.
that. Yeah.
It's just not feasible. It's not sustainable to be able to do that every week. So there are things that we have done in the past that's like, okay, this is a video idea that we've had that we've wanted to do and we've wanted to try in general, and then we make a video out of that.
Do you guys remember what the very first video was that we spent money to make? Do you guys remember what
Minus just like fuel going somewhere?
Yeah, something that was like, we need supplies to make this video.
Wasn't it the SEMA video when we dropped a buttload of...
No, it was before that. We had built the mini truck.
No, we didn't have the mini truck by that SEMA video.
SEMA?
Wait, that was during that.
I think the very first video that we dropped any real money on was the dually, the first dually wheeled video on my Jeep. We went to the metal store and we bought that
all thread.
That all thread.
I thought that was with personal money. I didn't think that was with business.
I'm pretty sure that was the business. It was like $600, and I remember thinking,
this is crazy.
My gosh. Like, our videos aren't even almost going to pay for this. And I remember telling Dad, like, I know this video isn't even going to pay for itself, but we have to make it. Like, I'm so excited about this idea. I think it's going to be so much fun and so interesting. This is the next step. And he was like, I remember him clearly was like, dude, it's going to take money to make money. Like, it's going to take, pain and money to grow in this realm.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I love, like, investing. That's a thing that's like, and all of us do, but like investing is fun.
Yeah.
There's also, of course, risk involved, but like that, to me, that was hard in those early days.
It's still hard.
Yeah, like to go and to invest $600 of our hard-earned money. It's not like there was, 1,000 sitting in there. There was probably $630, and we spent it on all thread that we knew was going to be ruined by the time we were done.
Yeah.
It's like, if that video gets no views and nobody gives two flips about it, that is going to be hard.
Yeah.
That was kind of along with the driveway, the storage containers. It's like we dropped a lot of money on those things, and it made a cool video, but also it's like we're not going to get any money back. That's just improvements that made the yard and everything better, but there's no return to get that money back. You can't sell it after. You can't do anything. It's just money gone, and that's harder to do for me in the moment. But now that it's done, it's like, okay, yep, that was worth every dollar. Because now it's really nice.
You remember when at Matt's Off-Road Games, and it was time, we came up with the idea.
The first time?
No, the Cybertruck.
Okay. Yeah.
When we busted the front end, right, blew an axle shaft, fixed it with Colin's spare axle shaft,
Yeah.
and then we jumped it 60 feet off that sand dune. And when I landed, it cracked the housing, and the tubes were sitting in it. It was done. But somehow that thing drove out on its own power with a couple ratchet straps and some chains or whatever we had.
And then you did that last send off.
And then we decided, all three of us sat down, we're like, hey, it's not going to compete the next day. We're done and out of this, but we need to put on a show. Peck Brothers, we broke it the day before we were supposed to go in and go back, and use it. And we're like, you know what? The crowd's going to want to see this. Let's go send it off this jump and finish it off. I remember flying through the air, and I thought, well, we put a lot of time and money and effort in this Cybertruck. We drove a long ways to get it to and from, and it's done after this. It's over. I landed, boom, airbags go off. And it
axle
just
completely snapped.
It left the
axle
chat.
was done. And I remember thinking, well, that was it. That was fun. We had a good time with it.
Let's see what happens with this video.
Yeah, hopefully the video does good. But at the end of the day, that thing was pretty much garbage. But it's back to life.
It is back to life.
We brought it right back. Our buddies John and Nate Williams at Crossfire put a new front end in it. That was awesome.
We brought it home, and we were like, oh, that's Colin's axle shaft.
yeah. I ordered him a new axle shaft to the shop, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was worth the footage, though.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
thought
times,
it was. The video did terrible. It's one of my favorite videos we've
But the
made
photo of Brady in the air, the crowd around him,
it was worth it.
That was worth the money.
For sure.
So in that realm then, like how... So, to be clear, I think it's really important to note that, we obviously spend a lot of money on our videos, way more than we used to. But almost every video that we spend money on, rarely do we spend money and know that it's going to come back. Sometimes it's literally, I think it's going to do well, and other times it's like, we might have just spent way more than this video is going to make.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are stuck in that kind of rut of like, well, I want to do something, I want to try this, but there's just no guarantees. So it's like, I just don't dare do it.
To be honest,
I don't think anything has a guarantee that's worth doing.
Yeah, to be honest, I was going to say, I think I know how I feel about that, but I really don't, because I was going to say, as long as you have like passion behind your idea, it's going to do pretty well, because it's forward momentum in a positive way, right? That's just kind of the way the universe works. But not all the time is that the case, because it seems like, we put a ton of effort and ton of positivity and, everything into, a video, say, just about your Jeep. It didn't do that well. but we
like
were
the
all,
1,000 horsepower video.
Yeah, we were that video with as much effort that got put into that, the time spent, the filming and the storyline and everything that we put into that. It technically should have done much better than we thought. Like we were planning on it doing much better, and it didn't.
Right.
So it's like, it's true that, the passion and everything behind it is going to help in general, but you can't say it does every time.
I think the important thing there too is to like figure out the baseline for like failure. Like what it depends on what you think is failure, Like if you're talking about like how far should you go, you're talking about how much you should invest with the risk of not getting anything back or it not being worth it. I feel like some of it's kind of perspective,
Yeah.
I feel like there's also a difference in, for us at least, video ideas versus the goal of our channel.
Yeah.
Like, you take a video idea like the 1,000 horsepower or, any of these videos that we really put a lot of time in, which is like 80% of them, where
pretty
like
much every video.
our heart and souls are into it and they don't do as well as we feel like they deserve for the work they got put in. Those aren't necessarily failures. They didn't add up to our expectations, but that's also the work we're putting into those is also getting us to the goal of where we want the channel to be.
Yeah.
So as far as the ideas, you've got the little ideas of videos, and then you've got the whole idea of the channel and where we want to be and what we want to do. All of these little wins and losses are adding up to equal what we want in the channel.
I'm like, so here's what's hard though, and I want to know what you guys think about this, is you put all of this effort into a video and it doesn't do well. If it doesn't do well and I can understand why it didn't do well, I don't feel like it's a failure. But when you put all that work in, it doesn't do well and you feel like it's what else could we have done? I mean, what do you guys think about that? Does that happen? Like, how do you deal with that?
Pretty annoying.
It's
It's
annoying.
very hard, and I think that's why a lot of people in this realm don't make it very far, is because they have a lot of passion behind it. They want it. They love the idea. They maybe like making videos or whatever, but it is an industry that knocks you to your knees all the time. It don't matter what size you are, because even those heavy hitters are having videos that aren't doing very good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what size. Like, and it's never going to go away. Views are going to, for the most part, they're going to go up and down. You're going to have good videos and you're going to have not so good videos.
That's very true, because if you don't know much about YouTube, you look at like these big YouTube channels and you're like, holy crap, 1 million views, that's a ton. And it is a lot of views, but when you go look at how many subs they have, and it's like 10 million subs and they only got 1 million views, it's like that video technically was not a success for that channel.
Yeah.
And so, like Brady said, it doesn't matter the size of your channel. A lot of these big guys or big YouTubers don't see success in their stuff, even though they're amazing at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes it really hard, and we talk about this all the time. It's like, if you want to grow, you need to make better videos. It's like, okay, that's easy to understand. What's better?
Sometimes it's clear, and other times it's like,
I don't think it's ever clear.
well, a lot of times though, I feel like we'll get done with something and we'll publish it, and I already didn't think the thumbnail was great, and then it doesn't do great, and I could be completely wrong about it, I guess. But normally I'll try and pin it on some reason that the video didn't do well. But yeah, I guess a lot of the time, maybe most of the time, it's unclear.
It's just the hard thing about YouTube is you're trying to get your dart and hit the bullseye, but you don't know where the board is. And nobody knows where the board is. You just see where other people have thrown it, and you try to throw it the same direction.
What I think the reason behind all of that is emotion gets tied to it.
Oh yeah.
Because maybe you had a lot of fun making that video. Maybe had an absolute riot. Remember our old Jeep videos of like guys trip, Sand Hollow, 2023, or then it was like, oh dude, this video is gonna do good because we had fun. It was that was so fun.
There
to
was
make.
such a good joke in that video.
Oh, there was a killer joke, and their dad made it up. That
there was
cool
a sick
obstacle.
shot of my Jeep going up that rock.
We pulled the
Sick
drone
shots.
out and got the sick drone shot. It was awesome. And then it gets nothing, and it's like, what? What are we gonna do next week?
It's not fun, dude. I kind of try to think of it like a normal business. Like you put all of this time and money and effort into getting an amazing product. It's like sick. Your product is really cool. People are going to love it. Well, then you kind of like don't go all out on your packaging, and the packaging isn't amazing. And then like your marketing's not that good. And so you put all this effort into your product. The other things around it aren't the best. And then it comes time to sell it, and it doesn't sell well. And it's like, why? The product's so good. But then it's like, well, dude, look at your packaging. It's garbage. Look at your marketing. Nobody even knows about it. Like with YouTube, the thumbnail and the title matter a ton because the video can be as good as the best video ever, but if you don't get someone to click it, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with packaging a product. If the packaging's garbage, nobody's going to buy it because they don't know what's good.
That took me so long to understand. If you go back to our old videos, the title and thumbnails were awful. Like
They were pretty
they
bad.
were so bad.
Well, let's expand a little bit on that. Like, only we're talking in YouTuber language here.
I know
like,
you guys are really getting an
for-
insider as to just we're just kind of like this is how our minds think.
Yeah, your thumbnail needs to tell a story just in the picture you take.
Yeah.
If it's just a picture of just something that happened in the video, like, hey, our work truck was in it, it's just a picture of the work truck. It's like, well, so
Like what happened?
Yeah.
What am I gonna see?
I want to expect something when I see it, and then I want to get delivered on that expectation that I have that I saw in the thumbnail. So to get that all to come together and then have the title support and bring clarity to the thumbnail, that's hard to do every single video and every single week because it's not always that clear.
Yeah. And I feel like too, we have been part of the reason that we are like let me back up. Not everyone, I feel like, in YouTube is this deep into YouTube. The reason that we are is because of how passionate we are about trying to make this work and make it grow. And so, like, it's kind of just in our personalities to be the best that we can be.
We force things into submission. We have our whole lives.
Yeah.
All our lives.
And so it's like when things aren't right, we are dying to figure out what needs to change to make it perfect and become the best that we can be at doing it. And so in that, you guys know, like, I want to know what you guys think, and we need to try and work out together when the point is that you should pivot. Maybe not give up.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
None of us really gamble, but like they say, like, if you're gambling and you're losing the whole, at some point you should stop. But,
Yeah. But there's that one little chance.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll win all of it back in this one. Just watch.
Yeah.
one
It's a
more.
really
One
slippery
more.
slope.
And it could happen. That's the thing.
Exactly. So, like, the best I've heard, and, it's kind of interesting, the gambling world a little bit. You listen to some of these huge guys doing, like, hundreds of millions of dollar game of poker. The best of them know when to fold. The best of them know when to get a fresh hand or when to just stop. I feel like the ones that are terrible are the ones that don't know when, and they can't see that they're losing too much.
I feel like that's us a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know when to stop. We've never been good at, like,
Letting off the gas.
and balancing. Like, we're family life and work, we struggle. Like, shifting from work mode to vacation mode, we're horrible. Like, all aspects of our lives, like balance and change and pivoting and taking no for an answer, we just are not good at.
We're
I
very
don't know
good at
why.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because that's all we do.
But like when do you like are there markers or signs? I would say like here's an idea, maybe when you stop having enthusiasm about it. Like when but maybe that's even a bad marker because there's plenty of times where it's like I've been plenty not enthusiastic about editing. Or plenty not enthusiastic about building the flipping mini truck,
What? And then once you get into it, it's like, oh, okay, this isn't as bad as I had in my mind.
No, or it's like you just keep going, and at some point
Oh,
it pays off.
I remember that in my construction world. I remember waking up in the morning, and I'm like, I would give anything to not be doing what I'm supposed to do today. And I'd, roll out of bed, I'd get ready, and I'd hop my truck, I'd hook on the trailer, and I'd go out, I'd just sit there in my truck for a sec, when I pull up to the job site. I'm like, hey, I can either make this day hard, and just in my mind complain about it all day and not want to be here and then really not be that productive, or I can just start.
Yeah.
And if I just forget about it and I just, this is the job in front of me, just get going. That helped me every single time because it was like, set the table saw up, set the chop saw up, get your tools ready, and just start going. And then once I was rolling, then I was starting to do things, nailing things on the wall or hanging that door or putting this tile on. It was like, now you get a sense of accomplishment. Okay,
Yeah.
I just got that done.
that
Let me get more.
perpetuates.
I'm going to have a super productive day where it didn't start like that.
So, I mean, literally, because like I can't think of a better solution. Maybe we're just flat plain giving the Disney Channel answer here.
No, I
You
got one.
You just never give up unless you're gambling.
I got an
anything
answer.
else. Just never quit.
I think the answer to not never quit, I think you should probably pivot when there's no hope left. I think if there's hope for something better, a better life or whatever, there's still hope, you keep going. As soon as you lose hope.
Your own hope, not everybody else's hope.
Yeah,
but
your own.
yours.
Yeah, if you are starting a business and it's not going the way that you want, you're a year into it and it's not making the money you want, but you still see hope and you still have faith that that's going to work, you keep going. There's hope there. But if you lose hope and it's like, well, this happened, no one cares about this, and there's no more hope for that to provide what you want it to provide, that's probably when you should pivot, because if there's no hope, you don't think it will work anymore.
How long do you give it that? Because there's been times in my life where maybe I have lost hope,
But there was still something there.
and
It's
there
a
was
little bit
something there,
subjective.
and it was very hard to walk away from because in my mind I was like, this could be a hard time in my life. This could be a hard circumstance that I'm going through. Life threw me a bunch of crap. Should I ride it out and it'll get better and I'll end up glad that I did? Or should I give it up now because things are bad? I'm with you with the hope thing. I just don't know, like,
hope. Do you think hope is subjective?
I don't know. I just think of like a patient in a hospital with a terminal illness. If that patient still has hope that they will get better, they will get better, or it will help them want to.
It's
be
much better than the alternative. When you give up hope, it's over.
Exactly. And so I feel like with an idea, with a business, with a plan, with anything, as long as you have hope, like true hope, not dumb, blind hope, that you just hope something will come your way, hope that you can make it happen and you believe it, you keep going.
Okay.
And that's
Well, I
because of us. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't see how this business would work or take off or provide for all of our families, but I believed that it would. I had faith that it would, and that gave me hope to keep going.
the question about whether or not hope is subjective, I was talking to Lou about this the other day, and something that kind of, I don't remember, I know I learned this from somebody. It might have been Jordan Peterson, but if you look at yourself, like if you're struggling with something, it is super beneficial to look at yourself as a human and realize you are not an objective observer of reality. Everything you see through a perception, whether it's good or bad. And so if you're going through crap or you're feeling bad about yourself, realize that there's 3 ways to see the world. There's a negative, a positive, and an objective way to see it. And it's crazy that like my dirt bike, I don't look at my dirt bike and see a red CRF 450 with black wheels and a red seat. It's like, no, you either look at your dirt bike and say, oh, that thing looks good, or no, that thing's a pile of junk. The human brain usually almost never sees the completely unbiased view of reality. And so like, it's super useful that when you're going through crap or you're feeling bad about yourself to either only see the positive side of a perception or just the unbiased side of the perception. And so with hope, it's probably best in any circumstance, with hope especially, to either just see the positive or to just see the unbiased side of the situation. Because if you see the negative side of situations, I don't think that there's ever a beneficial side to seeing the negative side of those situations.
No, but I feel like hope is what bridges the gap between you know, it being a negative thing and turning it into a positive thing if you have the hope.
I agree with that.
So you would say that hope is objective. Like it's not, it has to be based in reality. There is a tangible reality that something can get better. And once you have that, you see the positive side of a situation. That takes you out of the negative. There has to be something there that takes you from the negative side to the positive side. Like you can't just make it out of thin air.
I must have a brain cell short now because I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm not a philosopher. I don't know. But I do want to share a quote that I remember I heard in a movie. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The Secret. It's
a good one.
It's a good
That's
show.
a movie. It's not like a movie that you sit down to be entertained. It's a movie that you take down to learn because
Change your life.
It's like a documentary
it
sort
will
of
change
thing.
your life for sure. It was Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase." And I feel like that's the story of our business. It's like we had faith that we were going to make it to the top of the staircase. We didn't know how high it was. We didn't know what the stairs looked like, but we saw the first one and we took the step. And then you take the next step. And it's, in my mind, when I think about that quote, I think of a dark staircase, and each step as you go up will light another one up and light another one. It'll never show you the full thing, but that faith and hope in an idea is probably one of the biggest things I think that you need to pursue something as serious as a business. Or
so you would say when the point where that you should fold is when the next step, you can't see it. When the next step isn't lit up.
Probably, because why would you quit if you see the next step?
Well, I mean,
I'm thinking about like maybe not just business. What if it's a marriage?
like when you don't see the way to improve, do you give up?
Yeah, that's the question. Like, do you live by that in all aspects of your life, or is it different in business than it is in marriage and other
Probably,
aspects of your
because
life?
like if you think of kids, you can't just say
Well, hold on though. The kids are kind of keeping you and your wife together. Say in like the times you're
Not close.
yeah things aren't going well. But money is what's keeping you going to work every day in business. So it's
Yeah.
kind of got the same idea. Is it different or is it not? Is it a solid across the board, same thing for
I'm
both?
going to back up and say I'm not a marriage counselor either.
Well, I don't know. I think
know.
I think I can give this explanation too. I think most people suffer from quitting too early versus not giving up when they should. I feel
would
like it's a
agree with that.
good rule of thumb to be like, chances are good, you should keep going. Like, really make giving up the last possible solution.
I agree
I
with
feel
that.
like that
You
that's,
guys give all your thoughts. I'm going to share mine after.
well, I think that's where I'm gonna step off. I don't thinking about it. I can't think of a better like explanation.
I just think that it's failing isn't fun, especially in this day and age where you have social media. You get to see everybody's successes. You think that all your buddies have nothing but success because that's the only thing you see. And everybody's heard this spiel before, but when subconsciously you think that everybody around you is succeeding and then you think you just failed, it's like, well, it's way easier to just throw it off the side and start something new and hope that works. To where to keep going when everybody around you, you could be like, oh, are they looking at me like I'm crazy? Should I keep going? I don't know. It's probably harder to keep beating a dead horse to try to get it back up. It's way harder to do that than to walk away and try to find another horse.
Do you think? I feel like it's way easier to walk away.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're saying? Yeah.
Maybe I didn't say that right, but that's what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with that. What do you think? You got something good cooking.
Yeah, but I'm going to hop on the train with Alex. I'm not a philosopher. I'm going to sound like an absolute idiot because I kind of am an idiot when it comes to stuff like this, but I feel it. Like my internal whatever.
You got something in you.
I got it, and I believe it very strongly.
Let's see if we can understand you.
Yeah,
This is gonna be good.
Probably ain't going to make any sense. Okay, so in life, in general, in all decisions and all things, I feel like you have to give up something to get something else. And whatever it is, like you've just got, life is clear full of these decisions, and you've got to figure out, what am I willing to give up to have that I want? So now, say for instance, a buddy owes you a favor, you did something for him, he owes you something, and he's owed it to you for years. And it's like, okay, I could really use my buddy here, but do I want to use that now? Or should we wait later? Or, I want to make a ton of money. I want to start this business and get to this point. What am I willing to give up? Do I want to give up my family life and time away from my kids? Do I want to move to this city because there's more opportunity there? Everything in life, I want a good lunch. Well, are you going to go to the quick takeout and have kind of a not so good lunch, or do I want to sit down and eat something good?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to spend time, right? You're going to give up your time and money. I'm
waiting for the punchline.
I can't think of anything in life that isn't that way. So when it comes to, we're talking about hope and we're talking about all these different things, I think it comes to like when to give up. It's still possible. Anything that you want to achieve, if you feel strongly about it, the universe will allow you to have it. But at what cost are you willing to give it up? Because it may take you a lot longer than you expected or a lot harder than you thought. But you can get there. It's just what are you willing to give up? Because I find it so funny that I've been broke before in my life, and I've talked to people that were broke with me, and it's always targeting the rich people. Well, he's rich because he got an upper hand, or there's all these excuses. Then you get to like the middle class, you're doing well. It's like, man, it'd sure be nice to be rich. I've got what I need, but it'd be nice. I'm glad I'm not poor. Okay, they interpret things a little bit different. Then you step up, and I'm definitely not there, but you step up into these higher like
wealthy
big,
people.
wealthy people, and they don't look at it like that. They look at it like, you know what? What am I willing to give up to get what I want? They think, you know, their goal in life is to give as little as they can to get the most return. And they become masters of that or great at that. And that's why it's like it snowballs. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why you don't just find, you know, like millionaires. They have to become millionaires to become billionaires. And there's a lot of them trying to get there. You know, they become animals, like insane. And that kind of, you know, it becomes bad when that becomes your whole, you know, purpose in life, or, you know, all you do is worry about money. But like, it all comes down, I think, just to answer the question in my mind, it's what you're willing to give up. Like, when do you stop? Well, how bad do you want it?
That's definitely the case. And when you were talking about that, it totally triggered something in my mind. I remember listening to this motivational guy. Like, back in the day, it was a grind. I literally had to listen to like motivational YouTube videos every freaking day to just keep myself going. And I remember this one dude screaming in the microphone. He's like, choose your hard. Choose your hard. It's hard, you know, to be fat and broke and do this, but it's freaking hard to sacrifice and stay up and work. It's like, choose your hard. One is going to get you where you want to go, and the other is going to get you where you don't want to go, but both of them are going to be freaking hard.
That's
kind of sick.
Yeah.
What Brady said, and put this into real life, okay? Say you're starting a business and you want to make a candy bar. And you're like an average Joe, and you're like, I want to make the best candy bar there is. And so you start this out with like, I'm going to make the best candy bar ever. I've got a ton of hope. This is what it's going to bring me. This is where I need to get to. These are all the things I need to do. Well, over time, you realize I need a ton of capital that I don't have. You know, I can start small and do onesie twosies, but all these distributors have a minimum quantity of 1 million candy bars, you know, and so it's like, well, now my next step is to raise $1 million. That can either go where Brady said of like, what am I willing to give up? Are you willing to knock doors for money? Like, investors like go on a grind now on a side quest of not just building your candy bar. Now you have to raise money. Or is that going to make you lose hope? How am I going to get $1 million? And then your hope can be gone. So now these all kind of tie together of like, if you're not willing to give up your time or whatever it is that will make you lose hope. So it's kind of when you talk about how far should an idea go, it's definitely what kind of person you are, how invested you're going to be, and like Brady said, what you're willing to give up. Because if somebody was going to do what we do, and they're like, what am I going to have to give up? Is time. 100%. You're going to give up more time than anything. And if you were to ask us back in the day, it's like, hey, are you guys willing to work 15-hour days for years on end? Are you willing to do that? And it's like, well, we're kind of blind going into this. We didn't know that was what it was going to be.
That's probably a good thing, though.
I think it is, too.
I was talking to Dad about that. It's like, if it's a good thing that you don't know how freaking hard it's going to be, because I think if you knew how hard it was going to be, you wouldn't do it.
Totally.
I mean, that's crazy.
But also, you know, there's got to be a reward involved in it too. You know, hopefully along the way you're getting rewarded for those efforts at some point. You know, maybe not right. I think it's good that people struggle off the bat because it weans out the ones that aren't serious.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, how many... You get on like domain services and try to get a flipping name. You can't hardly get nothing because there's 10 billion people that have their domain because they've got some big business idea, and then they buy it every year, and then you look for it and it's not even there. It's like, why are you buying the name you're not doing nothing with it.
It's a lot of good intentions.
Great
Yeah.
intentions, and it's great people have that. That's I feel like that's a thing that's burned into a lot of humans' brains. We want to work. We want to be successful. We want to be happy. We want to do things. We want to serve people. We want all this naturally, but actually following through, figuring out how bad you want these certain things is a whole other story.
There's a quote by Aristotle, and it says, "The purpose of knowledge is action, not just knowledge." It's like, whoa. Like, you can learn all you want about something, and you can have this great idea, and you learn everything about it. You buy the domain, you do these things, but you never take the action. You never put what you learn into something that comes to fruition that you push, and it I don't know. I read that the other day, and I was like, man,
That right there,
solid.
That right there is why I don't have a problem with colleges, but a kid, he goes to college, he sacrifices, he works so hard to get this education. You know what?
Yeah, it's a
I'm
big
doing
deal.
it to make a good living for me and my family.
Yeah.
He's got great intentions.
It's honorable.
It's honorable. It's all this great stuff. It's all positive. But then he gets out. It's like, okay, where's my job? What do I do now? They don't teach you how to bridge the gap between knowledge and real life. Where's the action at? Nobody teaches the action. And then you get guys like us that are three complete goofs.
Idiots.
That have nothing but action, that force things into submission. Those kind of guys, they have to make it. They work.
Yeah.
And when you work, you succeed. You make money,
That's the other the thing about college is, they make you take all these stupid classes like bowling. That weeds
you
out.
took. Alex had a bowling class.
That was
Alex
was
is the
personal.
only one out of us that went to college.
Yeah, very true.
I got no knowledge though. But so you take this kid, he goes to college, he sticks it out, pays for it, spends the 4 years, gets his degree, and a whole bunch of other people got weeded out. The people that quit, whatever, found a different path. He wanted to get that degree. And then it comes time to get a job and do something with that. And now it's different from what college was. It's like a whole different thing of now I got to find a job, figure out how to be the best at that job, and take action. Well, then it's like, do you see hope in that? And then you go back to all these things we've talked about is like, what are you willing to give up? It's like to be a doctor, you've got 8 more years. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to give that up? If you want to be, anything, it's like, well, you still have more to go. What are you willing to do? And this kid that's fresh out of college is like, no, I just want a job given to me. I just put in the work. They think that's all it takes. And it might make them lose hope.
I am so grateful, like with what you're saying, that I'm not back 19 years old not knowing what I'm going to do.
That's a hard time.
Oh my
that's
gosh.
hard.
Like if you're out there listening to this podcast and you're there, I'm not jealous. Stuff's going to get better. And like,
That's a hard time in your life. It was for all of us.
it was way hard. And I think I'm 24. So I was like 20. Lucky enough for me, I was 20 years old and we figured out what we were going to do. I don't know if I could do like with what you're saying, you go to school for 4 years, you get there.
You have to pick something.
Yeah, you got
in
to
your
go
first
a direction.
year.
Yeah. And then you find out that it's not where you want to be or, all these, like, I don't know if I could do it again.
Well, add this onto the plate. There's all of that you're talking about, but then there's also the habits that you have now made in those 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 years that you've been going to college or doing all of this. Now change it completely. Your life is no longer the same. You are no longer trying to get knowledge from college anymore. You're out in the real world. You're in the wild. Go figure it out. Nobody's there to hold your hand. Nobody's there to tell you what to do or how to do it or the direction you ought to go. Your life has completely changed. I mean, get out of high school. What was that like?
It is a huge change.
Monday morning comes around, you're like, oh,
I don't go to school. What am I going to do?
yeah, what am I doing?
Yeah.
We serve missions. When we came home, it was like,
Now what?
crap, you know? Like change your habits like that. That's hard to do.
Yeah, it's
now
way hard.
Now it goes back to what Caleb said of like after high school, after college, after mission, whatever. Now you have knowledge. Now you have to transfer into the mindset of taking action with that knowledge. And with us, it was like, we've got all this action. It's like, guys, slow down. Why don't you get some knowledge too?
No, we
feel
can
like-
benefit from knowledge.
I
for
feel
sure.
like that's where, oh man, like that kind of just hit me. We're really lucky in that aspect because of the way we grew up, the way we were raised. It really did bring action, like knowledge into action. You know, something's broken, you big time, and you definitely, it's like you've never seen problem solving like these two idiots when something's broken. It's impressive.
It's
like
all
I
three
can't.
of us.
It's hard to capture because a lot of it's kind of time consuming. Sometimes it's not super entertaining, but for me, it's crazy. And so I feel like we do have a pretty good. I feel like we're lucky to have as good of transferring knowledge into action.
I think the majority of that came from mom and dad not giving us everything we ever wanted.
Yeah.
For making us figure it out.
and
For
think for ourselves.
yeah, when our dirt bike didn't start, dad didn't just come over and fix it and make it better. It's like, figure it out. You broke it. Figure it out. You know, like
Look, I want to throw this in. This is a very important thing that Dad taught me. Probably 8 years ago. I made a big mistake on a job when we were working together, and I don't remember exactly what that mistake was, but I remember it costed us some money, like thousands of dollars. I remember thinking, I got to tell Dad, this is going to suck. This is hard. I hate doing these things.
You are not that guy.
I'm not good at that stuff because
No.
I analyze things so deeply before I do them or I say them. And I made this mistake. Everybody knows how I'm feeling. And I tell Dad, and he's like, well, now we know. Now it's done. It's over. Knowledge costs money.
Mm.
And he said that. He said knowledge costs money, and I didn't say anything. And then I got thinking about it later on. And I was like, you can go to college and you can pay to have somebody tell you and give you this knowledge. And of course, it's your job to take it in and remember it. But then there's also the people like us that don't do that have to learn it on our own. That also costs money, because if we did go to college, get a lot of this knowledge, we could have probably been a little further ahead if we would have used that knowledge with the action that we've taken and got to where we wanted to faster.
Mm.
But there's so many different ways of how to play that. It's all.
That's a solid. It's a solid. I mean, exactly. Kind of going along with what we were saying is, if you look at the, how far should you take an idea? At the root of that, it's like, well, you don't want to take it too far because then you end up failing. Right? Then it's a real failure. But if your baseline for failure is learning, like, you should literally jump on every single good idea you have. I mean, within reason. But you should do exactly what you think you should do, and you just push it and push it and push it and push it, because something in that you're going to learn, and that's going to be worth it.
I think that's how we all three work, honestly.
For sure.
I don't see failure. Even when I look at that, the time where I lost all that money, I think, could it be looked at as failure? I guess. There's probably been some people that were very hard on themselves and they, wouldn't ever be the same or whatever. But, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't care who you are, how good you think you are. Everybody makes those mistakes. Everyone is going to do that at some point in their life.
That's easy to say, but way harder to accept.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Because you hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But we talked about this, I think, on a podcast or two before. It's okay to make those mistakes. Those mistakes make you better when you make them, because now you'll never do that again because you know it inside and you remember it.
I read this thing that was like, if you knew that you were 30 failures away from where you want to be, how fast would you fail and get back up? Like 30 failures is not a small number, but if you knew that on the 31st you'd hit it, it wouldn't be a problem to you. Like, you would fail and you'd be like, all right, I'm just one step closer to winning. And chances are good you're way closer than 30 failures to where you want to be.
Yeah, and I think that leads back into the successful people in my mind. They are okay to fail. They are okay to lose money. They are okay to take a chance on something. And it's shown itself time and time again with some of the companies that we've worked with. Motobuilt comes to mind. They believed in us early on. They could, some of the stuff that they supported us with, that could have just been money right out the door.
Yeah.
But they believed it. And I think it benefited them in the long run. Their products were in front of our whole entire audience multiple times. And I think
we still love Motobuilt. Like, every chance I get, yeah.
And we're best friends with them these days, And when it comes to successful and, I guess, more or less rich people, when we talked about what are you willing to give up, it's so easy to look at rich people and say, oh, I wish I was rich. I wish I had that yacht. I wish I had that new truck or whatever it is that they have. But you don't know what's going through their mind or what it took to get that.
Yeah.
You just think it just came easy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he just makes a ton of money and he just buys everything. It's like, well, being where we're at, we're definitely not anywhere towards like saying that we're rich, but we're in a better position than we were a couple of years ago. And people just don't understand what it took for that person to get that. And it's crazy to me to see everybody look at the rich in that way. It's like, I just wish they could take a step back and just be in their shoes just for a sec. Because in the everyone else's mind, oh, what would it be like to be rich?
What would it be like to be Elon Musk?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that guy has he's lost like, you can't get back what he's lost to give to have what he has.
Totally.
And would you actually do that? In the final analysis, when you're on your deathbed, would you actually give what Elon has had to give
to be as rich as he is?
This kind of might ruffle some feathers, but you think of Trump, right? Everybody's like, oh, his dad gave him $1 million to start out. Yeah, he did. How many people out there would have ended up with zero after that?
Yeah.
He took that. Obviously, that's a great flip. Most people don't get that, and he turned it into multiple billions. That, like, when you look at somebody, it's like, oh, he's a trust fund baby, he's this or that. They don't realize, like, some people were just handed stuff, and that to me is a different story. Like, it's a little bit harder to have respect and want to learn from people who just got given everything they have. But you look at a guy that built something from nothing. Like, I look at one of my buddies from high school. His dad built multiple companies, like, from his garage, his single car garage, built them into million and millions of dollar companies, all from him. Didn't get handed anything, didn't have anything. And he had the vision, he had the goal, he had the work ethic to make it. And those are the type of guys that you can learn from, or that have the knowledge that it takes, not the person that just got it given to you.
But like, I would say, like Hayden Deegan. Do you know who Hayden Deegan is? You know who Brian Deegan is? Metal Militia back in the day. His son, he races Supercross now, and the kid can ride a dirt bike. Very successful. And like, a lot of people hate on him because, like, oh, your dad was freaking Brian Deegan. Like, of course, but honestly, I'm kind of stoked for somebody like Hayden that, yeah, he might have, started out on first base, but he flipping is running from second to third. Like, it's on him, and he's taken what he's got and turned it into something. Like, it's not his fault that he was, born in a good situation. But, like, there's plenty of people, just like you said, that lose it all, that don't capitalize on a good situation. You can't hate on somebody for the situation that they were born into.
Well, here's the thing. Take a step back. Do you really have a good enough excuse to not like him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, come on.
Yeah, it's
The
crazy.
people that don't are probably maybe a little jealous of
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
he's
a
at,
bunch of
what he
trolls.
has.
See, and the thing, too, is like there's pride in both things. Looking at somebody lower than you and looking somebody higher than you. You don't need to compare. You were living your own freaking life. You're not everybody else. So just do what you are able to do. Do you think if Elon Musk was comparing himself to everybody else, he wouldn't be where he's at?
No, that's probably pretty true.
Let your talents shine.
This is kind of funny. In our last video, we recovered this old man's truck. He was 84 years old. Super cool guy. We hadn't met him. Was it his neighbor that got a hold of us or something?
It was his, I want to say, brother-in-law watched us, and yeah.
Anyways, we go recover this truck, and the guy's an older guy. Obviously, he's 84. These guys I was editing. These guys went and brought his truck back to him, and he's like trying to pay these guys, and they were like, no, it's all good. And in the video, like, I captioned exactly kind of the exchange, and Brady, he asks, he's like, he's surprised that we didn't take the money. And he's like, are you rich? And Brady's like, no, we're doing all right. We don't need your money. And some guy commented, this is hilarious. Did you see the comment? So it had 12 replies. And the guy caption, or the guy puts like in quotations, are you guys rich? And then it says no, like the conversation. He says, ha ha ha. We've seen your dad's boat. Come on now. You guys are rich even without YouTube.
Dad's boat.
Hang on. And then I commented back. There was like 12 or like 14 comments.
He must have been new.
And I commented back, and I was like, the wood boat me and Brady built ended up at Mom and Dad's, but we never officially gave it to him. So as of right now, Dad doesn't own a boat. And I was like, maybe we need to fix that. The only thing rich about us is the Mini Wreckers tune. And I was cracking up about it. The guy deleted the comment.
He did?
Yeah. So anyways, there's a funny comment. It's so funny how people, they watch like one or two videos and they think that they understand us. And then there's most everybody that's probably listening to this podcast, you guys know us. Two totally different ideas of who we are,
Yeah.
It's wild.
That's just like the Heavy D thing. The news makes it look like he was this criminal and this horrible person that would never pay these Clean Air Act things, and he's nothing but a big problem to society with pollution and all this crap. And then we come to find out, it's like, oh.
It wasn't even close to
So,
accurate.
so a
close.
backstory for those that don't know, and I think a lot of people don't understand. So another YouTuber, Heavy D, got arrested.
He's one of our buddies. Good dude. Good dude.
Every interaction we've had with him, just a solid dude. He's a family man. Like,
He's been good.
I like it.
He's been
Yeah.
good to us. That's probably the best way to say that.
So he's had this lawsuit. This group of physicians from Utah sued him for blowing black smoke, selling emissions defeat parts, whatever.
Even doing like things that weren't even his. They were targeting him.
Yeah. So this group of doctors sued him for like $120 million for blowing black smoke.
As a private lawsuit. Or
Yeah,
right,
it was
is that
civil.
Civil
It's
lawsuit.
like, what do they call those? Small claims court, whatever. So they sue him for that. And they end up pretty much like losing, because at the end of the case, they wanted to settle at like $855,000, which is like 1% of less than 1% of what they originally wanted. And anyways, this whole thing, Dave talks about it in his last story, but somewhere, somehow, it got out that Heavy D won't pay the fine that he lost, and that's why he went to jail. I don't know where that came from. A bunch of news sources had it. I don't know where they got it.
KSL News, CNN, like every single news source was like, Dave Sparks is in jail because he won't pay this fine. And I don't think most people understand this lawsuit. If you get a speeding ticket, the state court is who enforces or comes after you to pay the fine to the state.
Utah versus Caleb.
Utah versus Caleb. This is like, I'm speeding. Karen, that's my neighbor, comes after Caleb for speeding. The state of Utah doesn't care. The federal EPA, they don't care. This is a private citizen coming after Dave on behalf
of Wyoming
of a Clean Air Act.
That's the lawyer.
Like, you couldn't Karen any harder. Like, there's no way to Karen harder than that.
This is Karen that wants a lot of money.
This is Karen on steroids. Like, gives clinics on how to be a Karen.
So the reason for saying this is I would hop online and, people were obviously posting about it, and all the comments were, Dave, bought a Blackhawk instead of paying his fines. And people were just roasting him, and it kind of made me upset. I'm like, I don't know the exact situation that's going on.
Yeah, we've never even talked to Dave about the exact situation.
But Dave is a smart enough guy to where if he was legally obligated and like owed $855,000 for something he did, a crime he committed, and he has to pay that to keep himself out of jail, he would have paid it. Like, in the back of my head, I knew that's not why he was there, and everybody was, oh, Dave this, Dave that, he's a piece of crap, all this stuff. And then it comes out that that's not why he was in jail. He's trying to fight corrupt lawyers that sued him for money that they said was going to go to fix the environment, and it was going straight into the attorney's pocket, into the small business, which is absolutely BS in my opinion.
So to clarify what happened, it went to court. They lost the case.
Who's they?
The doctors for
No, they didn't lose. They won 1%, less than 1%, and because of that.
But you lost 99% of the case. You lost. And even though they lost the case, more or less, they still were able to come after Dave for just what they deem as the cost for the legal fees of the case.
From what we know.
Which they said was like $100 and something million, right? Originally?
Yeah, but the attorney pretty much says, since you lost, since we won, regardless, whatever percent of the case that they won, you have to pay the attorney's fees. And this attorney has done this so many times that he just jacks the price up. His fees, and I don't know if there's fees on top of that for the private business, but $855,000 to this attorney. And of course, Dave's like, that's BS. He doesn't want this to happen to anybody else. This whole story is just people see the outside.
Yeah.
And it's easy to come down on someone when you don't know the full story rather than give them the benefit of the doubt. But
when somebody seems larger than life like Dave, sometimes to us, but definitely to everybody, the guy seems larger than life. The guy, he's buying a Blackhawk. He's just that guy. You don't sit down and think, you know what? He is an actual person with feelings and a family and all of those things.
It just didn't sit right with me, that whole thing.
It was not
You
good.
think of his family and his boys and his wife going to bed knowing he's in jail because of these attorneys in this business that wanted money.
Well, and it was interesting too, in a roundabout way. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but he was like, I'd have paid it if it went to the Clean Air Act and it was actually helping our environment.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was a room. He actually said that.
I know that he Yes, I have heard that, and
something
I
like
heard that he has paid money to those things to better the environment, which is, if you're going to sue somebody for hurting
Damages.
the environment,
Mm-hmm.
the money that they pay should go to fix it, not to you.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should stop talking about legal stuff.
Yeah,
on
we
here.
probably should. We're going to
gonna-
catch a case
We're
for
gonna get
sure.
ourselves in trouble. We're just normal dudes that I feel like have common sense, and when something seems like there's no common sense and someone's trying to take advantage of somebody, that doesn't sit right.
This was definitely our thoughts getting laid out on the table podcast. I mean, whether you like it or you don't, that's the way we think. I mean, I
You're
guess
getting to learn us quite a bit.
somebody's going to figure us out for sure. And if you like this podcast, make sure you subscribe to the Peck Brothers Show.
Maybe
And
share it with somebody if you feel like they need something, maybe they're thinking about trying to quit. Maybe send it to them, and something us idiots say could help.
let us know in the comments as well if there's something that you would like to hear from us or something that you guys are wondering about. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.